Hello, I'm at a school today and I found this book on the shelf and I actually had to read it to the students and I thought, I enjoyed this book, so I hope you do too. It's called Petunia by Roger Dawson. Petunia. In the meadow, early one morning, Petunia, the silly goose, went strolling. She ate a bug here, clipped off a clover leaf there, and she picked at the dewdrops on the goldenrod leaves. Then, suddenly, she saw something she had never seen before in the meadow. What was it? Petunia stole closer and closer and sniffed at it from all sides. "By goosey gander," she said, "it does not smell like food for a goose, but I believe I have seen such a thing before." I bet you know what it is. Yes, I have seen one under Bill's arm when he came out of school. It's a book. That's a book. Come to think of it, just the other day I heard Mr. Pumpkin telling Bill that books are very precious. He who owns books and loves them is wise. That is what he said. He who owns books and loves them is wise, repeated Petunia to herself, and she thought as hard and long as she could. Well then, she said at last, if I take this book with me and love it, I will be wise too, and no one will call me a silly goose ever again. So Petunia picked up the book, and off she went with it. She slept with it. She swam with it. And knowing that she was so wise, Petunia also became proud. Proud or pride, when you hear that word, it's thinking too much of yourself. You're thinking you're too important. And prouder, so proud that her neck stretched out several notches. Can you do that? Stretch out your neck. It was King the rooster who first noticed the change in Petunia. He said, maybe Petunia is not so silly after all. She has a book, and she looks so wise that she must be. And the other animals began to believe in Petunia's wisdom too. They asked her for advice and opinions, and Petunia was glad to help, even when she was not asked. Petunia grew still prouder, and her neck stretched out another notch.
All right, listen up closely, guys. I am now dismissing Bus 77, Boys and Girls Club, to go to the gym at this time. Bus 77, Boys and Girls Club, please go to the gym. I need kindergarten, first and second grade car riders to go to the cafeteria. I need a little boy from Miss Wolf's room by the name of Hendrix Lewis. You are now a car rider. Please go to the cafeteria. So that's Bus 77, Boys and Girls Club, in the gym. I need kindergarten, first and second grade car riders to the cafeteria.
And one day, Petunia heard Clover the cow say to the king, the rooster, "I wonder what makes your comb so red." You know the comb on their head? "King, as red as the barn." "It's my blood," said King. "It's the color of my blood." "Nonsense," said Clover. "I have blood too, but I'm not a red cow." "Your comb has been dipped in red barn paint. That's what makes it so red." "You're both silly, of course," said Petunia. "King, your comb was stuck on by the farmer so he can tell you from the hens and knows who lays eggs and who doesn't. Plastic comb, I'd say." And so King never again shook his proud comb in song for fear it might fall off. Poor, sad rooster. But Petunia had other things to do. At the chicken coop, Ida the hen was cackling excitedly among her chicks. "Oh, Petunia," she said, "my chicks and I have been for a walk in the woods, and I think I've lost some of them. The farmer said I had 9, but I count can't count very well. Please, wise Petunia, count my chicks and see if they're all here. Glad to help, said Petunia. Let's see. 3 chicks at the fountain, 3 at the feeder, 3 about your legs. Now, 3 times 3, 6. 6, asked Ida. 6 is, sorry, that makes 6. 6, asked Ida. 6, is that less than 9? That's more than 9, not less, said Petunia. Lots more, my dear. More than 9? Good gracious, as if I hadn't had enough worries with my own 9 chicks. And where do those other chicks come from? Oh dear, I'll never be happy again. Poor worried Ida. And we know that 6 is not less than 9, right? And we know she does have her 9 chicks. But Petunia had other things to do. In the meadow, she discovered part of Noisy, the dog, sticking out of a hole in the ground. Help, help, cried Noisy. I stuck my head in this rabbit hole, and now it won't come out. Help! Glad to help, said Petunia. It's a good thing I know what hunters do to get stubborn animals out of holes in the ground. They smoke them out. Wait until I fetch some sticks and some matches. And so wise Petunia built a fire in the other end of the hole and fanned it with the book. Her trick worked nicely. Noisy, choking with smoke, jerked his head out of the hole and ran off howling with pain. His nose was singed with fire, and his ears were cut and bruised. Poor moaning dog. Doesn't look like a good idea to do that, does it? But Petunia had other things to do. Beside the hedgerow, she met Straw the horse, who was in pain from a terrible toothache. Petunia, groaned Straw. I'm dying. Surely with your wisdom you can stop this horrible pain. Glad to help, said Petunia. Open your mouth. Why, you poor Straw, all these teeth? No wonder you have a toothache. Look at me. Do I have teeth? Of course not. So I have no toothache. I am going to stop that pain right now. I am going to pull all those teeth out, all of them. Let me get some pliers. But Straw would not wait for the pliers. He was so afraid to lose his teeth that he never talked of his toothache to another soul. He suffered in silence. Poor forlorn horse.
Sawyer and Colt, please come to the office for dismissal.
But Petunia had other things to do. Cotton, the kitten, see it all the way up there? Way up high. Went up the tree but could not come down. While he meowed and meowed, his friends called for Petunia. Glad to help, said Petunia. I know just what to do. Since none of you is tall enough to reach Cotton, all of you will have to do it together. Donkey on top of Clover, pig on top of donkey, and so on. Simple. So Donkey climbed on top of Clover, pig on top of donkey, goat on top of pig, sheep on top of the goat, piggy on top of the sheep, turkey on top of piggy, duck on top of the turkey, hen on top of duck. Suddenly, Clover cried out, "Stop! My legs feel wobbly." And she sat. And Donkey and the rest fell into a heap, and Cotton was so scared that he fell on top of them. They were all full of bumps. Well, said Petunia, Cotton is down. So he was, poor bruised kitten. But Petunia had other things to do. Getting prouder all the time, she felt her neck stretch farther out. So she's thinking she's helping everyone, and she is causing problems. She now wandered down the meadow where she found some other friends gathered around a box.
All right, they're ready for third 4th, and 5th grade car riders to go to the cafeteria. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade car riders, please go to the cafeteria. And Hendricks Bliss, if you haven't gone down yet, please make your way to the cafeteria for car riders.
Sorry about that. Ah, wise Petunia, they shouted. We found this box in the ditch beside the road. Maybe it's food, Petunia. Please tell us what's written on it, or what the writing says. Glad to help, said Petunia. Now, let's see, why? Candies, that's what it says on the box. Yes, candies, you may eat them. Yes, of course. Now, no sooner had Petunia given the word than 7 greedy mouths tore up the box and grabbed the candies out of it. And boom! What a sight the animals were. Some were burned, some were bruised. Straw still suffered in silence. Noisy still moaned. Ida still worried about her chicks. King still brooded over his comb. All the barnyard was in trouble, all because of Petunia. Petunia's pride and wisdom had exploded with the fireworks.
One more call for Boys and Girls Club, Bus 77. Please make your way to the gym. That's Bus 77. Please make your way to the gym. At this time, if you are in there and you go to Boys and Girls Club, you should be in the gym. All car riders have been called, so if you're a car rider, you need to be in the cafeteria.
Petunia's pride and wisdom had exploded with the firecrackers. Her neck had shrunk back to its old size and was all bandaged up. She was the most downhearted of all, for she saw now that she was not a bit wise. But suddenly Petunia spied the book. The firecrackers had blown it open so that the pages showed. She had never seen them before. Now she saw that there was something written inside the book, which she could not read. So she sat down and thought until at last she sighed. Now I understand. It was not enough to carry wisdom under my wing. I must put it in my mind and in my heart. And to do that, I must learn to read. Petunia was filled with joy. At once she began to work so that one day she could be truly wise. Then she would help make her friends happy. So here she is. She's starting at the very beginning like we all have to do with our ABCs. Well, I hope you enjoyed this book, even with the bell ringing and the announcements. I would do it over again, but my voice is getting sore, and I think that there's a lot of wisdom in this book because we can't just have a book. We have to read it and then apply what we learn, right? And that's how we gain wisdom, not just by carrying a book around. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about Petunia and how she learned a great lesson, and now she'll be able to help her friends.